There is something I do on a daily basis. Down this name on YouTube. I listen to podcasts. Up until recently, I have loaded the podcast onto a thumb drive and I have taken them to work and uploaded them to that computer and listened to them there. This was causing an undue amount of stress, and I didn't even realize how stressful it was until I stopped doing it that way. The way I was doing it before, I used a program called Gpotter. I had used other programs, but they all suck. I don't know exactly what the problem is. Gpotter recently stopped working very badly. The version of Gpotter that comes with Ubuntu, the latest version of Ubuntu, you can't get to the file edit menus, which means it's very difficult to change the settings because guess what? The settings are hooked up to the options menu or something like that. So I did get it working by going and downloading the source and building up the source, blah, blah, blah. I'm sick of doing that. I've had it doing that. So I refuse to do that. So I was looking for another software package. Oh, not to mention it's buggy as hell and it has a bunch of other issues. So I go to find another software, and while I'm looking at all these different softwares, Gpotter was the only one that didn't try to take over your entire computer. All the rest of them want to be the wrapper for your entire music experience, and they want to take control of your machine. They want to do it all for you and give you and make it easy for you to find things and blah 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 blah. I just wanted something that downloaded the damn files and stuck them in a folder. And Gpotter would do this, but it had serious issues. So what's the solution? I started looking at online solutions for that, something in the cloud. I found Google has a couple of tools. One of them is called Google Listen. It's meant for holding your music files, or it's meant for streaming music only. I can't tell because I didn't really give it that hard a look. One thing I did notice about it, it didn't mark things red. One of the big problems I have is telling what I've already downloaded, telling what I've already seen or listened to in podcasts, and it was a real problem because I wanted to download some podcasts at home and some podcasts at work because it just made sense for what I listen to and the way I listen to podcasts. When I'm at work, I don't want to listen to anything involved. I don't want to listen to anything that makes me think, because that distracts me from work. I want to listen to kind of mindless droning stuff and funny stuff and some fiction, that kind of thing. At home, I want to listen to things that are actually instructional and teach me how to do things. So I wanted, and that involves splitting your entire list down the middle. I didn't want to do that. What I ended up doing was using using a web page called Google Reader. I'd already been using Google Reader to do blogs, and it works great for that because there's a Google Reader app for my phone. When you go to the web page, of course, you log in, it remembers everything you've read, and you can mark things read, unread, all that kind of control. But it works by basically putting a sound link at the bottom of each entry for your podcast. So you just scroll down to the bottom, you hit play, and it sits there and plays it. And the Android app works great. I can just go into Android. I've already logged into my account. I can scroll them down to the list of podcasts, go to the podcasts I want, and it has the ones I've read, the ones I haven't read, and I can just go to them and hit play, and it plays in the application in Android that plays MP3s or whatever format by default. So far, all the ones I've tried have worked. I'm waiting for there to be one that doesn't work in Android. But one nice thing about this, if I listen to it in Android, or if I listen to it at work, or if I listen to it at home on any one of 15 different computers, it doesn't matter. It marks them red, and that way I can keep track of what I have and haven't read. And this goes true. It just works. It does everything I wanted it to do, which is nothing except keep track of what I've already done and let me experience the media on all the different platforms. That's all I wanted. And it took me forever to find it. Now that I have found it, it's amazing how much of a stress relief this is, because when I go home at night, I don't have to remember to pop in the thumb drive and run the program and let it sit there and download while I go to bed, or I don't have to remember to get up in the morning and actually tell it to sync because I forgot to do it last night and then remember to grab the drive out. I can't tell you how many times I've done the sync and walked out of the house without the drive and not realized until I got to work. The drive is still sticking in the computer at the house. I have to remember to grab this drive from a computer at work because I use the different drives, the different thumb drives. I use them at work for stuff. So I have to remember to grab it and take one home with me that I can use. Remember that setting problem? So if I try to use the same one over and over again because it's a real pain in the neck to change the settings anymore in this program that I use. So it became a nightmare to change which drive I was using. Anyway, I stopped using that method and started using the cloud, and this is one time where it has really paid off. I walk out of the house with a smile on my face thinking, I don't have to remember that stupid thumb drive. I walk out of work thinking, so what if I forget the thumb drive? I can just leave it here. I don't really need it. I've got 10 more at the house. And it's one of those things I didn't realize how stressful it was until I was done with it.